Well, good morning, friend. Hey, we're right on the other side of a historic election in our country. And as you know, it's been a very tense time. I'm letting you know now that I'm probably recording this at a time when not all of the votes have been counted yet. But I will say this, it has been building, the tension in our country and the division has been building for quite some time. In fact, in Psychology Today magazine, they estimate that the stress level is about 70% of our people in our country are feeling it, as opposed to the last election, which was a pretty big one. They said it was about 52%. So 70% of our folks feeling a lot of anxiety. I'm sure that some of those folks are in our church, in our community, certainly in our neighborhoods. A good theologian a long time ago, John Wesley, had some congregants who were going to be voting in an election, and he gave them three bits of advice. He said, vote without any influence. In other words, don't let anything influence you. Vote for the person you think is the most worthy. I thought that was good advice. The second thing he said was, speak no evil of the person who voted otherwise. That's good advice as well. And he says, take care that your spirits are not sharpened against those who voted against what you voted for. In other words, don't hate somebody just because they voted for the other side. Well, I don't know if you're red or blue or what your hope is in this election, but I think that's good advice from Wesley. And now that we're on Wednesday, what does it mean? What does this election mean to us? Well, now what is the sort of question we want to answer this morning. And that's what I want to share with you. Here's my take. Whoever is president, Jesus is our leader. In Luke chapter 9, verse 23, it says, take up your cross and follow Jesus. Take up your cross and follow me, he says. You know, I admire a lot of people for what they do, and certainly our public officials for all the sacrifices they make, from the public level right up to the federal level. But my leader is Jesus Christ. Secondly, I want you to remember that the election is over now. It's time to move on. There's a lot of things being said in social media and maybe in the workplace. Maybe some people are fearful to say anything, and some people are overt about their feelings. This is what I want to say. The election's over. Let's move on. Now, I'm saying that knowing that it may be a couple of days for votes to be counted and for all the dust to settle. But let's move on. Acts 17:28 says, for in him we live and move and have our being. You know, it's about Jesus in our life. It's about moving in the way that Jesus leads us. It's not about a particular leader or a particular party platform. It's about moving in the Spirit. Thirdly, we're Christians before we're Americans. That might be hard for some of you to hear, but I've been around the world and I've met a lot of Christians in a lot of places. They weren't necessarily Americans. In fact, I would go so far as to say, you may as a Christian have more in common with somebody you've never met on the other side of the world than you do some Americans. Because as Christians, we place Christ first in our life. And above all else, we are Christians, even before we're Americans. In 1 Corinthians 13, it says, so now faith, hope, and love abide in these three, but the greatest of these is love. Well, we've had faith in a political party. We've gone out and marched for them and put signs in our yard for them and put flags on our truck for them, or whatever the case might be. We've had that faith. And we, obviously, we love Jesus. And now that third element, that element of hope, is a sincere part of what we need to do as Christians. We need to pray prayers of hope. Hope that Christ will return. Hope that Christ will invade lives of people we know. Hope that our country won't come under a great division like we've had before, but instead come together. And lastly, that element of love. Really, that's the hallmark of Christians, isn't it? Listen to what Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 13. Finally, brothers, rejoice. Aim at restoration. Comfort one another. Agree with one another. Live in peace. And the God of love and peace will be with you. Today, I hope for you, the God of love and peace will be with you. Let's aim for restoration because God can work regardless of who is president. And that's my last point. God can work regardless of who's president. Hey, I hope you have a great day. Don't be a stranger. We'll see you real soon.